I'm Dr. Revels, and you're listening to the REVELSations podcast. We're all family and friends here, so you can call me Rev. Today's verse is a question. Can the collective be selfish? Once again, can the collective be selfish? Let's get to some dictionary definitions so we're all on the same page here, as we like to do on the REVELSations podcast. Selfish, it's an adjective. It's a person, action, or motive lacking consideration of others, concerned chiefly or mostly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. I'm concerned about me. I'm not concerned about other people and how this impacts other people, be it positively or negatively. We oftentimes think of selfishness is what I do negatively impacts another person and I don't care about it. But sometimes what I do can positively impact somebody else and it doesn't matter to me. The idea is what I do is about me and I'm not concerned with how it impacts another person. Again, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. Doesn't necessarily say at the detriment of someone else. So we have the definition of selfish. Now, the definition of the collective. The collective is as a group or as a whole. That means more than one person. We're looking out for the majority of the people. How many people are impacted? So oftentimes you'll have people in the positions of power and they have a group of people and they have to make decisions, or they say they make decisions that impact all the people. They're concerned with the best outcome for all the people, even if it's in conflict of a particular person. They're always looking out for the best interest of as many people as possible. Last definition, best interest. Best interest is like an idea of making decisions and taking actions that prioritize the overall success and well-being of the group, even if it means sometimes putting personal interests aside to achieve the collective goal. Again, it is taking actions that prioritize the overall success and well-being of the group, even if it means sometimes putting personal interests aside to achieve the collective goal. And again, I'm going to go back to my topic and ask the question, can the collective, looking out for the best interest of the group, actually be selfish? By technical dictionary definition of the word, the answer is no. Because selfish means being concerned with one's own personal profit or pleasure. Personal, right? But if we think about a collective, then can the group be selfish? Can the group then only look after its self-interest? When we're looking at selfish as an individual, that's one thing. But now let's look at the group selfishness. Can the group be selfish? Can a group lack consideration of others, chiefly concerned with their own personal profit or pleasure? I would say yes. I'm going to give a great example of how the collective can be selfish, and I want you to decide if you think it's right or wrong for the collective to be selfish, because oftentimes we say that it is wrong for people to be selfish. Your parents tell you share, don't be selfish. When you go to school, your society tells you do not be selfish. Selfish people are oftentimes looked down upon, but are selfish groups looked down upon? Let's get to it. I am a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles. This is not a sports show. You all that listen to me, you know I don't talk about sports often, but I'm going to use a sports situation to illustrate my greater point. The Philadelphia Eagles have just had a great regular season. They have 14 wins against only 3 losses, but we're going to talk about their 13th win going into their 14th win. They have a player by the name of Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley plays running back. He is a fantastic player. Saquon Barkley is having a heck of a season, an all-time season. He was on pace to breaking the record for most rushing yards ever in a season. That record is held by a man named Eric Dickerson. It was set in 1984. It is 2,105 yards rushing. That is a lot of rushing yards. It is hard to do. That record has stood for 40 years. Saquon Barkley is on the brink of breaking the record, or I should say was on the brink of breaking the record. He had over 2,000 yards at the end of his 16th game. He had one more game, and he was 101 yards shy of breaking the record. 100 yards exactly would have tied it. 101 yard would have broken the record. Saquon Barkley said on after the 16th game, you know what? If we break the record, not that big of a deal. That was a Sunday. He went to sleep the next day. He woke up and said, you know what? This record would mean a lot to me and my family. He talked to his father. His father said that he would love the legacy of the Barkley last name to be attached to a historical record. And he talked to his coaches, and he talked to his general manager and the owner of the team. And they told him, you know what? We already have our playoff spot secure. If we play this final game, no matter if we win or no matter if we lose, our ranking is going to stay the same. This, in essence, is a meaningless game, and we have our playoff game the following week. We're not going to let you break that record. We're going to sit you out. We're not going to allow you to play because we have a goal of winning the Super Bowl, and we can't win the Super Bowl if you get hurt. If you get hurt, it lessens our chances at the very least of winning the Super Bowl. So the owner is looking out for everybody. Everybody. He's looking out for the rest of the players. He's looking out for Saquon Barkley. He's looking out for the coaches. He's looking out for the fans. He's looking out for all the staff members because everyone's ultimate goal is to win the Super Bowl, and he wants to put the team in the best position to win the Super Bowl. Not only the owner thinks this way, the general manager thinks this way, and the coach thinks this way. Because if Saquon Barkley is to go out and try to get this record, it would take his entire team helping to block. You would have to put the starting offensive line there to block so that he can get the record. And Saquon is a great teammate, great team member, said he understood the decision, but he was also disappointed. You could hear it in his voice. And I said, wow, I am witnessing the collective being selfish. And everybody said, oh, no, Saquon, you shouldn't be selfish and want this record. And I'm like, why not? What is wrong with Saquon trying to get some self-interest, trying to look out for his personal profit or pleasure, his family name going down in the record books? Would you like for your family name or your name in particular to be in the record books? I'm sure you would be. But the collective said, you know what? We're looking out for everyone. We want everybody to win a championship. And in this situation, it puts us at risk if you go out and play in this game, because if you get hurt, it decreases our chances of winning the Super Bowl. So I believe the collective in this situation is being selfish towards Saquon Barkley. They're saying our interest, the interest of everyone winning the Super Bowl, including you, Saquon, is more important than you going out and chasing this record. But Saquon may not agree. Saquon may say, I don't agree with that. Saquon may say, I think that going for the record is the most important thing to me and my family. And if I go for the record, that doesn't mean we can't win the Super Bowl. We could possibly do both. But the collective is saying no. The collective is saying, no, Saquon, you must sit. So the collective is being selfish. So think about you. You may be a leader at your job. When you are looking out for the best interest of everybody at your job, that's great. That's what you should do. You're looking out for the best interest. You're making decisions that prioritize the overall success, even if it means sometimes putting the personal interest aside to achieve the collective goal. But are you still being selfish, thinking about what impacts you and how happy you would be when it's negatively impacting someone else? Or are you thinking about how it impacts that person at all? And if it does impact them negatively, what are you doing about it? Are you saying, you know what? We got 10 people that are going to be happy about it, one person that's going to be sad about it. I would rather make 10 people happy and one sad than the other way around. And that might be the best way to handle it. But to that person who is being left out, that person whose self-interest is not being looked at, they can then call the collective selfish. The collective is looking out for their best interest, not mine. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong for the collective to be selfish. I just want us to think about it, that the collective can be selfish. And oftentimes we excuse the selfish behavior of the collective by saying they're looking out for the best interest of the team. They're looking out for the best interest of their family. They're looking out for the best interest of their country. And while that may be true, and that's great, it's still being selfish. The collective will say things like one of our former presidents, John F. Kennedy, who said, think not about what your country can do for you, but think about what you can do for your country. And while that is great, think about what you can do for the country. Be a part of the collective, be a part of the team. But at the same time, if I'm a part of this team, shouldn't the team be looking out for me as well? If I'm truly a part of the team, Shouldn't the team be looking out for my self-interest? If not, then why am I a part of the team? My country should be looking out for my self-interest, especially if my self-interest can be achieved and still have the ultimate goal. In the Philadelphia Eagles situation, it does not mean that he couldn't get the record and they go win the Super Bowl, but they prioritize their desire for winning a championship over his desire to win a Super Bowl. Now, as a fan, I hope they go out and win a Super Bowl. But what do you tell him, or what do you tell your team when you put the best interest of the team over the individual and your decision didn't necessarily work out? So you sacrifice the individual's goals and aspirations and their pleasures for the collective, but it didn't work out. And even if it does work out, you're still saying what we think is better than what you think. The collective can be selfish. Think about that. Let me know, drop a comment about how either you're a part of a collective and that collective is selfish, or even how a collective has been selfish towards you. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. Contact me directly at the REVELSations Podcast. That's on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. You can also email me, REVELSationspodcast@gmail.com. And most importantly, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell an enemy that you have listened to another verse of the Revelation Podcast. I am because we are. Hallelujah, holla back. Peace.
Yeah, the revelations now televised. A platform for you and I. And now look with full heart and clear eyes. Now, these are just my thoughts. Truth on how I feel on these topics I reveal. Please know my toll, I always keep it real. Can't face the word if you can't face facts. For your time, just open up your mind. That's it, just live, think big, now take that. With God in me, this here was made by design. Yeah, the revelation will be televised. REVELSations.